Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to another tutorial video. I am the Ultra Farmer, and in today's quick guide, we're going to be going over rice farming within the base game of Farming Simulator 25. I'm going to be going through all different aspects of rice farming right from the beginning. For creating your very first rice field, how you plant both types of rice. There are two types of rice in the game, just normal rice and then long grain rice. So there's differences between them. I'm going to go through how you care for your rice fields each month or until they're ready to harvest. There's different things that you need to do with watering and such, which I'll go through. It's all very simple. And then finally, we're going to get into harvesting, how you harvest both types of rice. And at the very, very end of the video, I'm going to show you how you prep your fields for the next plant. Just to note that this video will be for all platforms, whether you're on PC or console, it won't matter. All the tips and tricks will transfer no matter what platform you're on. So let's get right into it. Let's get into rice farming. Okay, so I'm just walking up to a pre-made rice field right now. Now this rice field, I'm in the map Hutan Pantai. So if you are looking to kind of test test rice farming, you want something kind of pre-made for you so you can go see if you like it, you can go into new farmer mode within the Hutan Pantai map, and it's going to give you this area. You'll get field 27. I think you get 30 and 31. I can't remember exactly, but 30 and 31 here have a bunch of the pre-made rice fields, and I'm standing in front of 30 right here. I'm just going to jump back out kind of into this mode so you can see these are very, very flat areas. And that's one thing to keep in mind when you're building rice fields is they need to be a relatively flat area. The game will flatten like some of the terrain, a little bit to kind of put your rice field in. But if it's a massive slope, like I'm just going to kind of go down like this, like you see this slope right here, the game would never put the rice field here. Even if you tried to make one, you'd have to come into like the level mode. And I'll just kind of do it here. Maybe I'll go down a little bit. Like you'd have to kind of create a level area, something like that, in order for the game to like allow you to put a rice field there. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a rice field right in this little area right now. This is a pretty flat area, and I'm just going to build a simple one right here so you can see how it works. Now what I got to do real quick is I'm just going to buy this so I can do that. Okay, so now we're going to go into the build mode. How you put down a rice field is you go into the build mode. So you can either do, all the controls I'm going to give you are from PC. So if you're on console, you'll just have to look up the coordinating controls. But you got to get into your construction mode. For me, that's either pushing Shift P on my keyboard, or I can just push P and I can come right over here to construction mode and it'll bring me into this view. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go into this factory one. Now, it's not actually going to be in factories. We're going to scroll over past greenhouses. This is where you set down greenhouses for the saplings, which I'll show you in a second, but just to kind of keep a reminder. Go over into cultivation. So this is where you can do grape fields, or grapevines rather, vineyards, the olives, which would be an olive grove, right? Yep. And then your rice field. So once you select your rice field, now you're going to be able to kind of create like a perimeter of how you want your rice field to look, or the shape of it to be. So I'm just going to start in this corner here, corner too close to another. Okay, so I've clicked right there. Now I'm going to slowly pull away and you'll see a yellow line. Now, one thing with building these rice fields is they can be very, very, very tricky to kind of make work. As you go to and as I click in each corner, it's trying to, you see how it's created a triangle there? You don't have to worry about that. Just don't click anything more. I'm going to left click there, and now it's tried to create this like this cube, this square that we've done. It'll always constantly kind of try and come back to the main point that you started at. So once you complete that square, you can just push right click on your mouse. So left click is going to build the perimeter, and then once you're done, the right click creates the field. And just one thing to note, I'm just going to push escape here. So I started in this corner right here, right? And then I went down to here. I left clicked down to here. I left clicked at this point and it created a line. I came over to here, left click, left click, left click. Everything went green. Then I went right click on the mouse. Now, the one thing that I've tested and I've noticed is once you set down a rice field, you're going to get this pump. Usually what I've found is every time the very first line that you make is where the pump will go. Does that make sense? So I started here and I went down to here. So this line, they put the pump on. If I would have started here and then say went left over to here and then up and around, the pump would have been right here. If that makes sense. You know what? Let's just test it for fun. Let's just test it for fun right here. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to come across here. We'll go up here, go over here, left click again. So now the box is created. It went green. I'm going to push right click and notice the pump is right there. I started here and went there. So that's just a little note if you're trying to build your farm and have it in a specific way. That's how you do it. So let's go down. We'll check out the field and we'll start getting into planting. Okay, I'm just pulling around here with a normal seeding unit. What I have here are 2 silos that are set up with seed and fertilizer. Now, I've already filled this thing, but you can just go through and you fill your seeder with normal seed and fertilizer. There's nothing special when you're doing long grain rice. If you look at the little menu on the right above the speedometer, I have it set to long grain rice. So a normal seeder, not a planter, but a normal seeder, and it can be direct drill as well, it'll plant down the long grain rice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to our rice field here, and I'm going to start planting the long grain rice. Now, as you can see, the fields have pumps on them. If you go up to these pumps, you can activate them. So I come up to this pump. If I push R on my keyboard, it's going to open this up, and I'm able to flood this field. So there's different ways that or different times that you need to flood. When you're planting long grain rice, you do not flood during planting. You only flood during planting of, we'll just call it regular rice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a worker. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong season. I'm just going to turn off my seasonal growth so then I can plant right now. Okay, so I'm going to set a worker to plant this field. Now this field, when it's long grain rice, it is planted just like kind of every other field that you do within Farming Simulator. You get a planter, you can set a worker to do it. They're going to go through. This field is going to be planted and fertilized at the same time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this worker kind of go to town on this field, and we're going to start talking about the regular rice. So we're going to do long grain rice in here and regular rice in this field. Now this is the field where we're going to need the saplings, and you have to flood this field to do the planting. So we're going to come over to the pump, push R on the keyboard, and I'm going to start flooding this field. Now, one thing to note as well is as soon as this starts flooding, you could start planting. You don't actually have to wait for it to get to a certain level. Once you have the flood going on this, the game just recognizes that you can start planting in here. But as you watch, we'll come back over here and you'll see more and more water start to pool up. You might even do it while we're standing here, but let's go over and we're going to go grab the little planter. There's one planter that will plant the rice saplings. We're going to run over and grab him right now. And I'll explain how everything works with the saplings and how you plant them. So this is going to be the planter for regular rice, or the short grain rice, if you will. And loaded in that little truck there is a pallet of saplings. So you can get saplings in 2 different ways. You can grow them in a greenhouse. So remember, if I come in and I push Shift P, I come back into build mode, come into factories. We can come down to greenhouses and we can set down a greenhouse somewhere. I have one set right here. And then if I jump back out, we can come over into the greenhouse. You come to this trigger, you can come in and you can start growing your saplings. You just activate this down here. I click on this. I have it activated right now, but if I was to push enter on my keyboard, that deactivates it. Enter again, that activates it. And you'll slowly grow saplings. Now, if you don't want to grow them, you can always come into the store. So I'm going to push P on the keyboard. I'm going to scroll down. Where is it? Scroll down. It's here somewhere. Not in that one. Consumables right here. Sorry. Okay. Special crops. Yeah, I guess it would have been right with the rice. You come down to consumables and you can buy pallets of saplings right here. So one pallet will fill this unit completely full. So I'm just going to pull up to this guy right over here. I'm going to push R on my keyboard, and it's going to start loading this up. Get us loaded right up. And then what I'm going to do real quick as well, I'm going to spin around up to my tanks here, and I'm going to fill this unit with fertilizer. So if I pull through here, you can obviously buy fertilizer in the store by the bag. I just have one of these set up just for, for tutorial sake. And we're set up. Now we're able to go plant. Again, we'll call it regular rice, or if that stuff's long grain, we'll consider this short grain. I'm not, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll head on over, and you use this planter kind of like you use every other planter in the game. You can set a worker to do it, or you can push B on your keyboard and then V to lower down the planting unit in the back, and you can go to down just planting. So let's pull on over here. So we're flooding away right now. I'm just going to get out. I'll check our pump, and it'll tell you what percentage. Water level 2% full. Not that big a deal. Like I said, you'll still be able to start planting immediately. So if I hop in here, push H on the keyboard, I'm just going to set a worker to do this, and they're going to go to town and get set up here, and they will start planting this field. As you can see, it's slowly starting to look a little bit wetter. You can kind of see some puddles where the tire tracks are. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this guy plant, and then I'll bring you back once both fields are planted, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so there we have it. Here is a planted rice field and a planted long grain rice field. So just again, just so it's clear, you flood for planting rice, but you do not flood when planting long grain rice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sleep through each month. We're in July right now. I'm going to just kind of put some cuts in where we sleep through each month, and I'm going to show you what you do each month to care for both of these fields. It's very simple. You're just going to be flooding them, but I'll just go through and show you how all that's done. So let's get into August, and then we'll start flooding these fields. Okay, we're just back here. We've slept through a month. It is now August, and as you can see, we have some growth on both of our fields. So now what you need to do is in each stage of growth, you have to go through and you have to flood your field. So we come back over to the pump. I'm going to push R. I'm going to push flood. We'll come back over. Now this is where we're going to flood our long grain rice. Come over here, push flood. And now you'll notice this little alert. Water level too low. Flood the field to avoid crop damage. Okay, so that's fine. You're going to avoid that by doing this right now. And again, as soon as you start to flood, it's going to like say that this is flooded, if you will. Like you could sleep through a month real quick and it'll be fine. One thing I want to touch just while these things are flooding is how you fertilize. So when we planted, I had fertilizer in both planters, in our rice planter, and within like our normal cedar we had fertilizer. So it gave me a stage of fertilizer. Now when we set down these fields, where I had set them down, there was already a 50% fertilization state. So technically right now these are at 100. But if they were only at 50 and you wanted to fertilize, I just want to go through one thing with crop damage. If you have a tractor like with regular tires on it, as you can see, I drove across the corner of this field right now, even on its first growth stage. I'll just kind of back over and I'll show you. You'll damage the crops with this. So if you want to go through with a fertilizer, you're going to need something with narrow tires for regular rice. As you can see, if I drive across the long grain rice, there seems to be no crop damage. But let's just tab over to this guy. If I have narrow tires on this tractor, if I needed to get another stage of fertilizer on this field, I would be able to drive across this with narrow tires, and I'm not damaging the field. And you could start spreading your fertilizer to get that 100%. Also, one thing to note, when you harvest rice, both of these, you only lose one stage of fertilizer, if that makes sense. Like usually when you harvest a field and it's 100% fertilized, once you harvest it, you go down to 0%. With rice, you only drop one stage. So on your next plant, if you have fertilizer within your planting unit and you go across it, you'll automatically have 100%. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Just kind of neat when it comes to rice farming, but yeah, that's it. We're going to keep going through the months, and I'm going to keep showing you how many months it takes that you have to flood. You don't have to worry. I'll give you the quick kind of tip right now. As long as you go check your pump each month, it'll finally tell you when you have to stop flooding. Like you won't be allowed to flood the fields. You can't overwater them, if that makes sense. But we'll go through it, and I'll show you step by step so there's no confusion. Okay, I'm just back here. We've went through another month, so I'm going to flood these fields. So this is our second time flooding our fields, our second month of growth stage. Everything's good. We're at 100% fertilized, 100% fertilized. Everything's fine. I'll bring you back in the month after this. Okay, we're back here. Now you can see this rice has grown a lot more. We're going to go check the pump. This is going to tell us we do not need to flood anymore, okay? So at this point, you're done with this rice. However, we got to run over to our long grain rice, and we're still going to have to flood. So I'm going to let this field flood, and then I'll bring you back the month after that, and we'll keep going. Okay, and now there you have it. So our rice now at this point is ready to harvest. So we only had to flood through 2 months to get our rice ready to harvest. For our long grain rice, it is not ready to harvest yet, but we do not need to flood it anymore. So you can see it's very simple to keep these fields managed. You basically just go and flood them until they tell you you can't flood them anymore. And that's basically it. We're still sitting at 100% yield bonus on both these fields with 100% fertilization. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start harvesting this field. So we'll go over. This is the only harvester in the base game that you can use to harvest the normal rice or the short grain or whatever you want to call it. And this is the Japan 6130. You go in your stores and you come down to rice. Like I said, it's the only one rice harvester. You go in there and you use it just like every other harvester in the game. You can come up to the field. Again, I'm on PC, so I'm going to push B to turn it on. Oh, it's raining right now. It's telling me it's raining right now, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit of time here. And hopefully this rain clears up. It won't let you harvest in the rain, kind of like all the other crops. It tells you you shouldn't be harvesting in the rain, so we'll just go through here. We'll let this time skip through. I'm just going to shut this time down. And there we go. We should be able to start harvesting. So again, you can just turn this on. You don't have to lower anything on this. Or yes, sorry, yes you do. And you can go ahead and you just start harvesting it. Now I'm going to set a worker to do this, get going. And again, this is very simple. You go through, you'll harvest. The only thing that's different with this unit is on most of your harvesters, when you go through and you want to put the pipe out to pull the grain out of the unit, it goes on the left side. This one, if I stop it, I'm just going to push there, stop, I'm going to open this, it comes off to the right side. But it's the very same thing. You can go through, you can come with a trailer or some sort of grain truck, and it will offload into it. Okay, and so what I've done now, I let this field finish being harvested. This harvester is full, and we're going to just dump it into this trailer, but I wanted to sleep through 1 month, so now we went through 1 extra month. It takes 1 extra month for the long grain rice to finish, and it is now ready to harvest. So to harvest the long grain rice, it's very simple. You use just a normal combine with a normal set of grain headers. So I'm going to jump in this unit right now. I'm going to set a worker to go do this, and then what I'm going to do is let's jump in this unit. I'll show you how this dumps in. It's pretty simple. It's the same kind of standard idea as all the other harvesters or combines. Dump this in here. And then what you can do with rice is a couple different things. You can dump rice, both the normal rice and the long grain rice can go into a grain silo. So let's just jump over into this tractor right now. While this is being harvested, I'll just pull on over and show you. You can dump this into a set of silos. Now you also can put it into a production facility. There's a couple different things that you can do with rice. One of the production facilities that you can use is the oil mill, and so you can put rice in there and it'll make rice oil. And you can make rice oil from both normal rice and the long grain rice. You can also put it in a grain mill and make flour out of it. And I think in one of the preservatives where you can do like canned foods and stuff like that, you're able to make rice cakes. So I shut this off accidentally, but I hit a button there. And as you can see, I'm not really on the grate, but you can dump this into a grain silo. So yeah, there's a couple different things that you can do with rice. But it's basically the same as all other grains. And let's just pull over to this combine right now. And just jump here. Let's jump in this guy. And really, we don't need to go any more than that. I mean, you guys can understand what's going on here. Obviously, you can't make bales from this. But it's the same idea. Come over to your truck or trailer, whatever you're using to catch the grain or the rice. If I can get in the sweet spot there. Yeah, we're missing the trailer a little bit. Missing the trailer just a little bit. There's a couple 100 liters in there. 154, no big deal. And I'll just go show you can dump this into the grain silos as well. And then that's basically it when it comes to rice. After that, you're able to clear off the fields with a normal set of cultivators, disc harrows, things of that nature. Let's just dump this in here. And then once they're cultivated or disc harrowed or some sort of set of cultivation, I mean, you can use spaders, you can use plows. Every now and then, if you have periodic plowing on, you will have to plow your fields. It'll be the normal, any type of normal field prep stuff. If you need to know more about field prep and you want an explanation of that, I'll put a video in the description below that goes through all of field prep. It goes through each of the different implements, what they do, the type of stones that they bring up, all that stuff. It's a full explanation of field prep, but I just figured I'll come over to this field right now, drop this set of cultivators down, and as you can see, it clears it off just like any other field. Now you jump off, and what you're going to notice is when you come over this field, it is still 50% fertilized. And that's going to be the same for both fields. If I come over here past the harvested point on this field, we're still 50% harvested, which is kind of nice. So then when you go to plant your rice, whether it's long grain or normal rice, again, you flood the field, and as long as your planter has fertilizer in it, or it's a seeder that can plant and seed at the same time, you will instantly get 100% fertilization, and yeah, it'll boost your yield bonus. And then after that, as long as you're flooding the fields good, it's just kind of the exact same process. You'll have 2 months of flooding for regular rice, and then 3 months of flooding for long grain. After the third month of growth through your normal rice, that's when you can harvest, and then after 4 months with the long grain, you'll be able to harvest. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the basics behind rice farming in Farming Simulator 25 within the base game. There may be mods and stuff that come out in the future, but as of right now, in the base game for both console and PC, that is how you do rice farming, kind of start to finish. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see rice farming in and of its fullest, I'll also put I'll put a link in the description below to my playlist on this map, Hutan Pantaya, where we build kind of a canola and rice empire. And you can see firsthand what I do with rice, how I farm it, and how we kind of build up the fields more and more, how we purchased and created these fields, leveled this all out and stuff like that, and created a lot of rice oil. And yeah, if you want to check out that video, you just check the Hutan Pantai game playlist. There's about 22 episodes, and yeah, it's kind of a start to finish on how I build the farm up. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, or if there's anything that I missed that you think I should put or I should have added, make sure and put it in the comment section below. Let me know if there was anything that wasn't clear. Thanks again so much for watching. If you appreciate it, and you feel so inclined, I'd love it if you could hit that hit that notification bell, so you can be notified when my new gameplay series are coming out, and when I come out with new tutorials, all based on different elements of Farming Simulator. So thanks again, guys. Have a good one.